Nur Rashidah binti Arifin. Nur Rashidah binti Arifin dilahirkan pada 24 Januari 1985 di Hospital Daerah Banting, Kuala Langat, Selangor. Bapa beliau bekerja sebagai pembantu rendah awam di Pejabat Agama Islam Daerah Kuala Langat, manakala ibu beliau seorang suri rumah. Beliau merupakan anak sulung daripada 4 orang adik-beradik. Beliau mendapat pendidikan awal di sebuah sekolah di Banting. Lalu beliau meneruskan pengajian di Sekolah Agama Menengah Tinggi Tengku Apuan Rahimah Sungai Manggis, Banting, Selangor, dan kemudiannya di Sekolah Agama Menengah Bestari, Subang Jaya, Selangor. Nur Rashidah kemudiannya menyambung pengajian di Kolej Universiti Islam Antarabangsa Selangor dalam jurusan Diploma Pengajian Islam Syariah. Kerana minat yang mendalam dalam bidang agama dan undang-undang, serta bercita-cita untuk menjadi seorang peguam syar'i, beliau telah melanjutkan pengajian di Universiti Melaya dalam bidang Sarjana Muda Syariah, Syariah dan Undang-Undang. Sepanjang berada di Universiti Melaya, Nur Rashidah telah membuktikan kecemerlangannya dalam bidang akademik apabila beliau disenaraikan dalam senarai Anugerah Dekan sebanyak 4 kali. Hasil kecemerlangan ini telah melayakkan beliau menerima Anugerah Pelajar Harapan Akademi Pengajian Islam pada tahun 2009, Anugerah Kecemerlangan Akademik MGS Kolej Kediaman Tun Ahmad Zaidi pada tahun 2009 dan Anugerah Khas Jasa Setia Jabatan Syariah dan Undang-Undang pada awal tahun 2010. Pencapaian PNGK 3.86 pada semester akhir pengajian telah melayakkan beliau di Anugerah Ijazah Sarjana Muda Syariah Undang-Undang dengan keputusan lulus dengan kemudian cemerlang. Tumpuan Nur Rashidah bukan sahaja terhadap akademik, tetapi pada masa yang sama beliau giat aktif dalam aktiviti sosial dan ko-kurikulum anjuran Universiti Melaya dan universiti-universiti lain. Antara aktiviti yang pernah disertai beliau ialah menjadi peserta pertandingan Mahkamah Mud Syariah peringkat kebangsaan di Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, anjuran Persatuan Guaman Syari'i Malaysia, Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi, menjadi penulis, peserta dan pelakon mock trial undang-undang syariah, peserta debat akademik, mengarah program debat akademik, serta merupakan peserta wacana undang-undang di peringkat kebangsaan. Beliau juga adalah salah seorang ahli sekretariat kepada seminar antarabangsa International Conference on Research in Islamic Law, anjuran Jabatan Syariah dan Undang-Undang. Nur Rashidah telah memperluaskan pengalaman sebagai pelajar dengan menjadi peserta dan pelajar kursus pemantapan bahasa Arab di Universiti Kahirah, Mesir selama sebulan pada tahun 2009. Nur Rashidah turut aktif di dalam aktiviti kolej kediamannya dan antara program yang pernah disertai kempen alam sekitar Say No to Polystyrene serta program Ihya Ramadan. Walaupun bergelar mahasiswa, Nur Rashidah tidak melupakan tanggungjawabnya untuk menyumbangkan tenaga dalam menjayakan beberapa program kemasyarakatan seperti menjadi fasilitator kamp seminar harapan, anjuran bahagian dakwah Pejabat Agama Islam Daerah Sepang, Selangor, dan juga menjadi ahli jawatankuasa program Ramah Mesra Kampung Orang Asli, anjuran Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia. Perancangan beliau pada masa akan datang ialah ingin bekerja dalam bidang guaman dan menyambung pengajian ke peringkat ijazah tinggi. Beliau juga bercita-cita untuk memiliki firma guaman sendiri pada satu hari nanti yang dapat membantu masyarakat secara amnya. Atas kecemerlangan beliau, Senat Universiti Melaya yang bersindang pada 8 Julai 2010 bersetuju Anugerah Pelajaran Diraja tahun 2010 dikurniakan kepada Nur Rashidah binti Arifin. Mohon izin Tuanku Chancellor menganugerahkan kepada Nur Rashidah binti Arifin Anugerah Pelajaran Diraja. Benjamin Ong Jia Ming. Benjamin Ong Jia Ming dilahirkan pada 31 Julai 1987 di Hospital Pantai Kuala Lumpur. Bapa beliau seorang pesara dalam bidang teknologi maklumat, manakala ibunya pula adalah seorang suri rumah. Beliau merupakan bekas pelajar Victoria Institution Kuala Lumpur dan telah menunjukkan kecemerlangan akademik dalam memperolehi 10 A1 dalam peperiksaan SPM dan 3A dan 2B dalam peperiksaan STPM. Selepas tamat belajar di sekolah, Benjamin pernah bertugas sebagai guru sementara dalam mata pelajaran biologi, sains dan matematik di Victoria Institution. Minat beliau dalam bidang sains hayat telah diperkuatkan apabila membuat keputusan untuk melanjutkan pelajaran dalam ijazah Sarjana Muda Sains, Ekologi dan Biodiversity di Fakulti Sains Universiti Melaya pada tahun 2007. Semasa persekolahan, beliau mengasah bakat sebagai pemidato dan berjaya memenangi anugerah pembahas terbaik dalam pertandingan debat bahasa Inggeris ala Parlimen peringkat wilayah persekutuan. Pernah juga memenangi pingat emas dalam acara pidato spontan extemporaneous speaking dalam Southeast Asian Forensics Tournament. Benjamin juga merupakan seorang penulis yang berbakat. Bakat beliau terselah apabila memenangi hadiah pertama dalam MPH Search for Young Malaysian Writers tahun 2006 dengan karya bertajuk Evanescent Shadows yang kini diterbitkan dalam antologi cerpen It's About Time. Di kampus pula, Benjamin aktif dalam aktiviti pelajar dan telah berkhidmat sebagai bendahari Majlis Perwakilan Mahasiswa dan sebagai ahli jawatankuasa Persaudaraan Kristen Varsity. Antara pencapaian terbaik beliau adalah mewakili universiti ke pertandingan debat Diraja di UiTM Shah Alam, memenangi tempat pertama dalam peraduan esei Cheeseman 2 kali berturut, iaitu pada tahun 2009 dan 2010, memenangi tempat pertama bagi kategori pelajar ijazah dasar dalam pertandingan fotografi ulang tahun perpustakaan ke-50. Beliau turut mengambil bahagian dalam pameran seni hijau pada tahun 2009 anjuran Pusat Kebudayaan Universiti Melaya. Pada bulan Mac tahun ini, beliau telah mengubah dan memimpin persembahan karya muzik bertajuk Neighbours dalam persembahan Hari Paskah and Easter Tinyi anjuran Persaudaraan Kristen Varsity. Benjamin juga menunjukkan kecemerlangan akademik dengan berada dalam senarai dekan untuk 5 daripada 6 semester pengajian. Pencapaian PNGK 3.76 pada semester akhir telah melayakkan beliau dianugerahkan ijazah Sarjana Muda Sains, Ekologi dan Biodiversity dengan keputusan lulus dengan cemerlang. Komitmen sebagai pelajar di kampus tidak menghalang Benjamin daripada melibatkan diri dalam aktiviti di peringkat antarabangsa. Beliau merupakan jurulatih dan hakim dalam pertandingan Southeast Asian Forensics Public Speaking and Drama Tournament semenjak tahun 2007. Beliau juga berkecimpung dalam bidang fotografi dan antara penglibatan profesional beliau termasuk sebagai jurugambar bagi pameran seni kealayan 2008 anjuran Kedutaan Filipina dan Rapta US Air Force Thunderbirds Air Show anjuran Kedutaan Amerika Syarikat di Malaysia. Pada bulan Mei tahun ini, beliau telah menyertai program pertukaran pelajar mengenai isu-isu alam sekitar antarabangsa anjuran East-West Center di Honolulu, Hawaii dan Washington DC selama 5 minggu. Benjamin kini terlibat dengan projek dokumentasi melalui penggambaran usaha pemulihan panggung eksperimen Universiti Melaya yang merupakan usaha sama dengan Perpustakaan Universiti Melaya dan Pejabat Timbalan Naib Chancellor. Pembangunan bermula pada September 2009 dan dijangka siap sebelum hujung tahun ini. Benjamin merancang untuk melanjutkan pelajaran ke peringkat ijazah tinggi dan bercita-cita menggunakan bidang sastra dan fotografi sebagai medium untuk mempergiat lagi usaha-usaha pemeliharaan dan pemuliharaan khazanah warisan alam sekitar dan kebudayaan yang kaya di negara kita. Atas kecemerlangan beliau, Senat Universiti Melaya yang bersidang pada 8 Julai 2010 bersetuju anugerah pelajaran Diraja 2010 dikurniakan kepada Benjamin Ong Jia Ming. Mohon izin Tuanku Chancellor menganugerahkan kepada Benjamin Ong Jia Ming anugerah pelajaran Diraja.
Menghadap Duli Yang Maha Mulia Paduka Sri Sultan Perak Darul Rizwan Sultan Azlan Muhyiddin Shah, Tuanku Chancellor Universiti Melaya. Menghadap Duli Yang Teramat Mulia Raja Muda Perak Darul Rizwan Raja Dr. Nazrin Shah, Tuanku Pro-Chancellor Universiti Melaya. Ampun Tuanku. Patik memohon izin untuk menyampaikan sepatah dua kata kepada majlis yang istimewa ini sebagai salah seorang penerima Anugerah Pelajaran Diraja tahun ini. Terlebih dahulu, kami ingin menyampaikan rasa bangga kerana telah terpilih sebagai penerima anugerah yang berprestij dan cukup bermakna ini. Daya saing antara pelajar-pelajar cemerlang di Universiti Melaya cukup hebat dan kami sebagai penerima anugerah ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Majlis Raja-Raja Malaysia yang telah berkenan untuk memberikan anugerah ini bagi menggalakkan pelajar-pelajar Universiti Melaya untuk memperkembangkan dan membangunkan diri secara holistik dari segi akademik maupun sahsiah dan ko-kurikulum. Ampun Tuanku, patik memohon limpah perkenan Duli Tuanku untuk meneruskan ucapan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Distinguished Pro-Chancellors, Chairman of the Board, Vice-Chancellor, Deans and Directors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say that having turned 23 2 days ago, this is quite a birthday present. You have before you today a graduate from the Academy of Islamic Studies and another from the Faculty of Science. You had an honorary doctorate presented to the President of Soka Gakkai International and an emeritus professorship to our former Dean of the Faculty of Science. A lot of religion and science here today. And not always the most obvious of partners, but here we are. Believing that religion and its practice is not a mindless pursuit of the heart, but needs to be grounded in good thought and maturity, as well as believing that science is not just about materialistic gain and industrialized progress, but also about connecting to the human aspect of our existence. Having trained as an ecologist, I am no stranger to the richness of Malaysia's natural heritage, its flora and fauna, its magnificent ecosystems like rainforests, mangroves, and coral reefs. And standing here on University of Malaya's soil, it is really a privilege and an honor to have at our disposal as ecology students such resources as the great Rimba Ilmu Botanic Garden. In fact, it is not me who should be talking about Rimba Ilmu here, but Dr. Sugumaran and Dr. Yong Kentai seated on the other side of the hall, who have just received their PhDs today. And I owe a lot to the two of them for teaching me in class, for availing the resources of Rimba Ilmu to students and staff, visitors to this campus. And I encourage you, if you've never been there, to pay the visit before the day is over or something. Now, education is not merely what goes on within roof and wall in the class, but it is about the living and breathing environment around us. As an ecologist, I can attest to the fact that the popular image of Malaysian ecosystems is quite untrue. Far from it being sort of like a paradise where, a spa-like paradise, the fact is that the Malaysian rainforest is really quite a place of stings and heat and humidity, and quite uncomfortable. But it has been a pleasure actually to learn about this rich heritage here. And having returned just a couple of months ago from a study program called the Study of the U.S. Institute for Student Leaders on Global Environmental Issues in Hawaii and Washington, D.C., I'm convinced more than ever of the special place our country occupies on the world ecological map. Now, my friend, Nur Rashida, has a deep passion in religion and law, and it is evident in the fact that she pursued her interest in this field even after receiving her diploma at college, and to this point here, where she now has graduated with top honors. With the knowledge gained, she has participated and contributed actively in academic activities, as well as social and communal programs, both within the university and outside the university, in debates, in mock trials, and even in the Arabic language extension program in Cairo. Now, we are here today because of our parents, whose love, support, and sacrifice have guided us all these years. And we want to thank our parents for believing in us, for giving us the freedom to fly, and for understanding our choices to pursue our studies of interest, be it in Islamic law or ecology. And it says something, I think, that these are not necessarily the most conventional of study programs or degrees, but they supported us through it all. The Japanese poet Makoto Uka once wrote these lines, and I quote, "Because a string holds me to the earth, I hold the earth suspended in the sky." And I think that children are like kites, blowing out of control in the breeze. How parents, teachers, friends are, in a sense, the grounding forces that hold the kite to earth, but must also be willing to let the wind carry the kite. It's a dance of sorts, requiring a certain grace and compromise at times on both ends of the string, for if one side pulls harder, the string breaks. But where the dance is successful, the kite goes further, deeper, and higher than it has ever gone before. We want to thank our lecturers for believing in us, our tutors who have guided us, nurtured us in our studies. One of my lecturers, Professor Norma Yusuf, who taught us behavioral ecology, once said, "Play is costly," which is why only humans and the higher animals encourage play among their offspring. And by play, we mean the chance to explore things that may be risky or dangerous. But it is only through play, through experience, through doing things that pose an element of risk at times, that we truly grow. Consider the National Geographic. The staff of the National Geographic are not driven by a spirit of fear. They are driven by courage and confidence and a curiosity to know the world. And I've always thought that nothing is ever too small for a parent or a teacher to encourage. You encourage writing, even handwriting, you get a writer. Encourage the sharing and listening of ideas, you get a speaker. For all I know, you encourage children to go out into the garden and pick up leaves and catch insects, and you may get people like Dr. Sugu, Dr. Yong, or even our entomologist, Dean of Science, Professor Sofian. We thank the university in so many ways for creating this learning environment in which we have been able to forge our characters into something resilient to be able to face the challenges ahead of us, be it as students, postgraduate students, or be it as citizens of this country, Malaysia. And we thank the Council of Rulers for awarding this award, this prestigious award, which I see as not so much a recognition of what we have done in our years of study here, but also as a standard of accountability to which we may be held in the years to come. The legendary 20th century poet T.S. Eliot, when he received his Nobel Prize in 1948, considered the award and the recognition not so much a celebration of what he had written thus far, but as a kind of challenge, a kind of selection of one man to stand as the face of poetry for at least the year or the years to come. So it is with this award, I believe. Being here at the beginning of the rest of our lives, I would think, for Rashida and myself, that let this not be so much a celebration of what has been past, but more of a hope and a challenge, a calling to what lies ahead. On the note of tradition, I would say that I had been indeed very privileged to be able to study at the Victoria Institution. And yet at the same time, I have been disturbed by news recently that a lot of changes are happening. The society for which I had served so many years as a debater, as a public speaker, as a writer, is on the verge of being shut down by the school, which I think is ridiculous, simply because, look, if you shut it down, you take away the platform for students to grow. I would think that in 7 years' time, you're not going to have another person like me standing here. I hope the school reconsiders this in some ways, but I would also like to speak to the university here, because I think one of the things that the University of Malaya and the Victoria Institution share is the rich heritage. We were both colonial era institutions, and we carry a very, very rich heritage and legacy of producing great people in all sectors of life, nation builders, statesmen, academics, and so forth. We have so much to gain here, yet we also have so much to lose if we're not careful. I remember just now, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda's address spoke of how in 1988 the campus was embraced in a rich blanket of green. And I think we have so many national and natural treasures here in this campus. National treasures such as the experimental theatre just behind the DTC. Natural treasures such as the fact that a quarter of our university is a forest reserve. Not easy to find such land in the heart of KL, especially in this part of the world. And over the years to come, we could either lose all of this, or we could gain something by appreciating what we have, by appreciating our treasures, and by teaching both students, staff, parents, and everyone connected to UM to also appreciate and treasure all of these. To this end, I am very grateful for having been able to work with Professor Noritza and Professor Kaur, who are here today, and even the Vice-Chancellor himself on the project in experimental theatre. We speak of frontiers to be explored, peaks to be conquered, but I think sometimes the final frontier, in the words of E.O. Wilson, the biologist, can truly be our own neighborhood and our own backyard. Dr. Gauth, our Vice-Chancellor, spoke of high-impact journals and wanting to accelerate and improve research done in the university. And I cannot help but think that while we seek for grants and funding and send people to the corners of the earth, all the way to the South Pole, the North Pole, the other end of this planet, I also think there is much to be discovered here. An example would be how Emeritus Professor Dr. Yong Hoi Sen and the Japanese scientist Akira Miyata discovered the world's largest trypanosome, which is a blood parasite, in a frog here within the grounds of the university itself. And so I think there are many stones in this university, if unturned, will yield a lot to be discovered. In fact, may not even need as much funding as some of those very, very ambitious projects. Just an idea. Beyond all of this, to my friends who are graduating this week, some of whom are here, I think, congratulations on your achievements. Wherever you may go and whatever you may do, always cherish the people you meet, the people you journey with, and strive for your success, yes, but also equally for the growth, development, and nurturing of those around you. I would like to congratulate as well Dr. Zheng Weibo of China, who lived next to me in the room next door in Third College, back when I was a first and second year undergraduate here. He's sitting in the front row over there. Congratulations. Before I end, I would just like to say that, if you forget everything that I've said, everything that happens here today, never forget one thing. Never lose the child within. I realize that in this hall, Rashida and I are perhaps the youngest, and with many, many years ahead, hopefully. But, if you forget everything here, don't forget the child within. Never lose the wide-eyed wonder with which you once perceived the world and all in it. To teachers out there, lecturers, never forget what it's like to be a student. To parents, never forget what it's like to be a child. To administrators, never forget what it's like to be the common man. In the words of T.S. Eliot, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. John Keating, the English professor in the movie Dead Poets Society, said, "Carpe diem, seize the day, and make your lives extraordinary." Believe in yourself, believe also in others. Pursue your dreams with passion, with determination, and help others to do the same. Martin Luther King said, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Keep moving." It's so much to think that humans, just like us, could hold the earth suspended in the sky, as in the words of the poem. But truly we can, and I do not think that there has been a better experience than the University of Malaya for giving us those wings. Ampun tuanku, sekian saja ucapan patut. Salam hormat, terima kasih.